I am over the moon about it. It's amazing to see everything come together. So I got really excited and thought, okay, I could just finish this skein tonight. But even though I sized up for this one, this is still not going to be super oversized. And I should probably take this time to weave them in. But right now, all I want to do is to kind of hide this away. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Oline and I'm a knitter from Norway, and welcome to my knitting podcast. Here I talk about all things knitting, my current project, finished projects, planned projects. Sometimes I talk about my yarn, just anything that falls into my head while I sit here and chat with you all. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me today. This week I have been able to knit a lot more than last week, and I've been able to do almost everything I wanted to do with my projects. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk a bit about my one finished object this week, and that is what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my fiance's Melange sweater man. I just had to steal it for this podcast. I didn't want to wear my own and then just hold up his. And also I have been really itching to try it on and see how comfortable this is, and to see if I want to continue stealing it a bit more. But as I said, this is my one finished object. I was finally able to finish the Melange sweater for my fiance. It was originally supposed to be done a week ago for his birthday. But that deadline, I think I started 3 weeks before that, and to make a adult size sweater in 3 weeks turned out to not be possible. A little part of me still thinks I could have been able to do it if I didn't get sick, but I'm trying to not think too much about that so I won't annoy myself. But I did finish it this week. It was a lot easier to finish it this week since I, 1, didn't have to hide that I was working on it, and 2, I wasn't sick, and 3, I had help looking after my toddler while I knit. So that just made this whole process of finishing it a lot easier. And I had also done most of the work before this week. I think last week I was at the very end of the body. I don't remember if I'd started the ribbing or not. I think I had started the ribbing and I was actually about to do the Italian bind off. So I was really close to being done with the sweater. I only have the sleeves left, and the sleeves really didn't take me any time at all, which is what is making me think that I could have been able to finish this on time if it wasn't for me getting sick, because I think both the sleeves took me a day and a half or 2 days to knit them both, so a day each. And that was my timetable going into that last week. If I was able to do a sleeve a day, I would have, I think, 4 days to do the body, and I should have been able to do that if I just had knit a bit more, but that just wasn't the reality of the situation. And I think it turned out exactly how it was supposed to turn out, because I wasn't able to gift my fiancé a sweater, but I was able to gift him the promise of one, and I had gotten far enough of this that he could see that it would actually be a sweater. And then I was able to, after he came home, he could try it on, he could give his opinion about the length, the sleeve length, he could watch me working on it. And I love, with all of the sweaters I might make, both the ones I gift away, the ones I keep, I love to attach lots of memories to everything I knit, and I have lots of memories of me hiding this and trying to knit it in time during the night, during the day when my fiancé was away, and taking it with me everywhere he wasn't. But it was really nice to also have a couple of memories of me working on it with him next to me towards the end. I really like those memories, and I think it's really nice that we got to do some of that as well. So usually when I don't reach a deadline, I tend to beat myself up a bit about it, but with this one I really haven't, because I like how it turned out when I wasn't able to give it to him in time. And I was able, I think when it was finished and I had washed it, blocked it, it was dry and given away, I think at that point it's been 4 or 5 days since his birthday, so it really wasn't that long after. And I did post a video about the whole process of making this sweater, and I got one comment on there that said that a couple of days is nothing compared to the years of joy and the years this will last him. And I really like that, and I really believe that too, that a couple of days to and from, it's not really going to make that big of a difference. And he could also see me working on it and see me working towards being able to give it to him. But my absolute favorite thing about making this was when it was done and I gave it to him and we all put on our matching sweaters, because this is part of a family match. That was why I ended up making this one, because I love family matches, he loves family matches, and both me and my son, this sweater is one of our favorites, so I thought that would be amazing. And it was absolutely amazing to put on our matching sweaters, and we were able to take a couple of photos. I'll put those in here because I think they are some of my all-time favorite photos of us. They're definitely my all-time favorite photos of a finished object. I think they turned out so nice together. Of course they are all the same sweater and they're in the same color, but really seeing them next to each other was amazing. It's not the first time I've done a family match, but I think it is the first time I've done it all in the same color. And even though we have the same color, our fits are a bit different, because it's the male version, the female version, and the child's version. So it was just really nice to see it together, and also to see my fiancé being so happy to get his sweater and so happy to be matching with us. It was just really amazing and really great, and it definitely made making this sweater worth it. And also right now I am stealing it, and it's also a really comfortable sweater to steal. As I said, I do have my own Melange sweater, but there is something about a just slightly more oversized one. The sleeves are a bit longer, the body is a lot longer than I usually do for mine, and that's not to say that I don't love mine, but it's really nice to also have a sweater you can cozy up a bit more in. So I think I'm going to be stealing this a bit more this winter. But before we move on, I just want to say a few details about the sweater, and that is that I knit this in Dropsflora, double-stranded. One of the colors was white, not the off-white one, but the pure white one. And then the blue is jeans blue, I think. I never know if it's jeans blue or denim blue, but it's one of those. I don't think it's a color called jeans blue and denim blue, so if it's called denim blue, that's it. And if you can't find something called denim blue, then it's the jeans blue one. I mix them up in my head. But those are the colors I used for all of our sweaters. And for this one, I knit this in size medium in the male version, and I used 272 grams of each color, so I had to tap in just a little bit on the 6th skein of both colors, which I don't really think is too bad. Of course, Flora is a wonderfully affordable yarn, and then also 12 skeins for a male sweater isn't that much, so I'm really happy with that as well. But I don't think I'm going to yap on any more about this sweater now, because I've talked for quite some time now, and I also have a video dedicated to this one if you want to see more, hear more, look more at it. But now we can move into my whips, and first out among my whips, as always, is the wedding dress. And I know I said that this was my only finished project this week, and it is, but it also kind of isn't, because right before I went on to do this podcast, I did cast off my mohair skirt. I've been meaning to cast this off for 2 weeks now, and I did all the preparation to be able to cast off for it last week in the podcast, and then I kind of forgot about it. I was not stressing, but really, really single-mindedly focused on getting this done, and by the time I had finished this, I'd kind of forgotten about this. But I remembered today before doing the podcast and picked it up to cast off, and it took a surprising amount of time because this is just so many stitches, it's so wide. I don't know if I've been able to show it before because it's been on needles, but this is really wide at the bottom. It's just huge. I can try to show it, but it definitely won't all fit into frame because it's just super big. But I did get to cast this off today, but I'm not counting it amongst my finished projects because for this one and for the belt and for the main wedding dress, I'm counting those all as one project, whereas with the mist sleeves that I also knit for the wedding dress, I count that as its own project because this I used a pattern from a designer, Garn Sleeked. So this felt more like its own thing, even though it's very much a part of the wedding dress. Whereas for the mohair skirt and the belt and the wedding dress, I'm making that up as I go. So those kind of feel like one project, just in different parts. So I'm not counting this as done. It's just another part of the wedding dress being done. So I won't log it as finished in Knit and Note, but it is cast off, and it's crazy to me that I am not going to be knitting anymore on my mohair skirt. This has been with me for months now. I can't remember a time where this has not been on my needles. It was crazy today to unscrew. I've been using interchangeable needles for this, and to unscrew those needles and put them back in with my other needles was really weird. I haven't seen those needles unscrewed for months and months and months, but this is done now. It's not going to be on my needles anymore, and I am over the moon about it. It's amazing to see everything come together. Everything is nearing being finished, and it's just absolutely crazy to me. I feel like it was just a little while ago where I was looking at everything and just I could not imagine it turning into anything. It all just looked like fabric to me. It didn't really look like anything, and now I can try it on, and it actually looks like a dress or like a skirt, and it's coming together, and it's just crazy to me. I did film a little bit of me trying it on. It was a bit hard to film since it is so long, but I did my best, and I'll put that in here as well. I am really happy with how it looks. Of course, I just tried it on over my pants and over what I was wearing, but I think it looks really good. I'm really happy with the length. I haven't been able to hang it up since I just cast it off right before this, but I think with it growing a little bit, it will be perfect, because I anticipate it being, if I'd had it over the wedding dress, I think it would have been a bit shorter than it was today. And I'm also going to be wearing shoes, so this growing a little bit will be great. But I am really happy with how it looks, with the ruffles up here and how large it is. I have to say though that I tried to spin a bit in it, and this didn't really spin out from my body that much. I think it's because it's so lightweight that the wind can't really get a hold of it. It just blows through. So I don't know if I'm going to try to add a bit of weight to it, or if I like that. I think again I'll have to wait and see it with the wedding dress, but now this is cast off, so it's at least a lot easier to try on and see what I think about it. But yeah, that is the mohair skirt done. It was the only thing that I worked on this week when it comes to the wedding dress. I didn't work on the wedding dress at all. I am going to try to be better at that moving forwards, but I also don't have that much left, and that's the only thing I have left that I have to do. I probably want to do a couple of beads somewhere on the main wedding dress, but that's not something I have to do. Once that's done, once I'm done knitting that, I have done everything I have to. So that's really exciting, being so close to it being done, and then I won't have to stress anymore. But of course, the more I finish, the more other ideas I get. Now I have finished the mist sleeves and the mohair skirt and the belt, and I only have the wedding dress left, as I said. But now I want to use all of the leftover mohair because I have quite a lot. I want to make a December bow for my hair. I want to make decorations with it, probably also decorations for our Christmas tree. I really want to make something more like everyday wearable, like a cumulus blouse or something with the scrap yarn of my mohair skirt as well, because I think it would be a great memento after the wedding to be able to wear something with my wedding dress yarn. But that's probably going to wait until after the wedding. It would be a great wedding day cast on, but and then also with the main wedding dress yarn, because I'm going to have a lot left over of that as well. I got a lot of yarn because I did not want to have to mix dye lots on the wedding dress, but I'm going to have a lot left over for the main one as well. And with that one, with that yarn, I really want to make lots of different things, to be honest, but what I really can't get out of my head is a honey clutch or a honey bag, mostly the honey bag. I really want to make that. I've heard that having a person on your wedding day is a good idea, and I would love for that to be the honey bag. Also, I've thought about using all of the beads I have, both the glass beads and the other beads, to make I don't know what it's called, that part you put over your shoulder. I think that could be really nice as well. But I'm trying to hold myself to finishing the wedding dress first. Once that's finished, I'm allowed to do whatever. But that has to be finished first. I don't have that much left. I just have to actually prioritize it. But now that that's the only active part of the wedding saga I have to work on, it will hopefully be much easier to prioritize. But yeah, I'm really excited. Everything is coming together and it's amazing. I can't wait until I cast off the wedding dress and everything gets a lot easier to try on. I think that will help a lot when I try to decide if I want to do beads, if I want to do pearls, if whatever I want to do. But yeah, I am not going to babble on more about the wedding dress, but I'm really excited to be making progress, even though I'm not great at working on it super regularly. I feel like I have been making a good amount of progress the last few weeks just by doing a bit here and there, and hopefully I'll stick to that for the main wedding dress as well. But now we can move into more of my regular whips, and as always we'll go oldest to newest, and as it's been for weeks and weeks and weeks now, sweater number 20 is my oldest regular whip, and this is a whip which I'm going at very like hot and cold. One week I'm working on it loads, the next week I'm not working on it at all, and that's because this is a sweater that I'm making alongside my friend. We're doing a kind of knit along, and the goal for the knit along is to try to knit at the same pace, which is hard when we both have a million projects we're working on at the same time. But this is my progress. I think last week I had added some length to the body, which I wanted to do before starting the sleeve. So of course this week I had to start the sleeve, which I did, but this also I did just last night. This took a lot of time out of my week, so the last part of the week is when I really went crazy with all of my other projects, but I did start on the sleeve quite late last night. I said to myself that I was just going to pick up stitches because that has been holding me back a lot when it comes to this one, because I knew that all of the different cables are supposed to hit at the right place, and I think picking up stitches is so stressful and scary and I never get it right. So I just wanted to pick up stitches, just get that out of the way. But I was so pleasantly surprised because Myfavouritethings.knitwear, which is the designer of this sweater, had written so very detailed exactly how you were going to pick up stitches. You were going to pick up that many stitches at that exact place, and you were going to pick up that many stitches at that exact place. She hadn't just gone, you're going to pick up that many stitches and you're going to pick up 2 out of every 3 or 3 out of every 4. It was really nice. I could just do exactly what I was told, and it turned out exactly how it was supposed to, and that made me so happy and gave me such a boost that I just couldn't stop knitting. So I thought, okay, I'm going to at least establish the cable pattern, because that's something else I struggle with. So if I do both of these things tonight when I wake up in the morning, I can just go at it. It will be much more mindless. I won't have to do any of those things I'm stressed about. So I did that, and that also went fabulously without a hitch. I didn't make a million mistakes, which I did on the body. So that also just put me in such a great mood. And then of course I'm making this in Drops Alaska, which is a yarn without that many meters in it. I think it is 70 meters per skein. So once I had picked up stitches and really established the cables, I could already feel that the skein was hollowing out. So I got really excited and thought, okay, I could just finish this skein tonight, because I'm also a bit afraid I'm not going to have enough yarn. So I'm kind of stress knitting to see. So I convinced myself to do that. And of course, as always, when I think, okay, I'm just going to finish the skein, I can already see it hollowing out, I can feel it hollowing out, it's almost done. Every single time I think that, there is much more yarn left than I think, and I never learn, will probably never learn, but I think I thought that to myself at like midnight. So I thought, okay, I'm going to knit the skein. That will probably take me half an hour to an hour, but then I'll be in bed by 1 a.m. That very much did not happen. I don't think I had finished the skein until after 2. But I did get a good amount of length in on the sleeve. I think this is a bit above 15 centimeters. It's somewhere like 15, 16, 17. I used to have a measuring tape here, but my son has stolen that, so it's not here. But that is it's a bit less than halfway through the sleeve before doing the ribbing, which looks silly because it looks really short, but this is going to be a drop shoulder and it's going to relax, so that will add a bit of length, and you're also supposed to have quite some length of double ribbing at the end. But it didn't really calm my nerves in terms of a game of yarn chicken, because after this I did count my skeins and I think I have 9 left. and I tried to do some math, but I think since this is one skein and it's a bit under halfway, I think each sleeve will take me at least 2.5 skeins, which means 5 skeins for the sleeves. And after I'd done one skein, I had 9 left, so I have to take 4 away from that, so I have 5 left, and probably only 4.5. And then I have to finish the body with just 4.5 skeins, and the body eats yarn without really growing, so I'm really nervous about how long I'm going to be able to make this body. But that was part of why I decided to do the sleeves first, because I didn't want to have cropped sleeves. I would rather have a kind of cropped body, because I kind of crop all of my sweaters anyways. But yeah, I am really nervous to see how long this yarn will last me for. I think this length on the body here is done with 1.5 skeins of yarn, so I might be able to finish this without there being a problem with the yarn chicken, but as it is right now, I am quite stressed, and because of that stress, I also wanted to do a swatch just to see how much the yarn would kind of release tension and grow lengthwise, how much the sleeves would grow. So I did make a swatch, which also took away some yarn, but I can unravel this and knit with it later. But this is my swatch. I haven't washed it in the washing machine. I'm going to keep it as a swatch until I get to wash it in the washing machine, so I can also see if Alaska felts. But this I've only run underwater just to see how much it would relax, and it did relax a fair bit. I think this swatch, for this swatch, my gauge is actually bigger than it's supposed to, but then again, I'm also a looser knitter when I do swatches than when I do the real deal. So I think my gauge is pretty much right, and this did relax. It's still a bit damp, so I can't really tell, but this definitely did relax. Before I washed it, it was really scrunched up, so it did relax, which I'm really excited about, and I think it also got a lot softer. So I think this is going to relax a bit too, which will make this grow. The pattern said that the sleeve should be about 2 to 3 centimeters shorter than where you want it in the end, so I'm going to try to keep that in mind as well. But yeah, that is my progress for sweater number 20 currently. I am once again a bit ahead of my friends, but also I have decided that that's okay, and I've also said to her that I'm going to brush ahead a bit because it's cold out and I want my big chunky cabled sweater, so that's just how it has to be. But I'm also working on a million other projects, so she could easily catch up to me, because in a whole week I was only able to knit 1 skein. But yeah, that is sweater number 20. And then my next project, which I am pretty sure is the project I've worked the most on except for the Melange sweater, is another cabled, textured, structured knit that I started on almost at the exact same time that I did the sweater number 20, and that is my Dagmar jacket. And on this a lot has happened. I think last podcast I was really unsure about the length I was going to make this. I decided to stop where we talked about last podcast to finish the diamond I was knitting on, and to do ribbing after that. So that's what I did, and then 7 centimeters of ribbing, of course, added length. And then I finally got to do the step I have been the most excited about ever since finishing the yoke, and that was to add all of these ribbed edges. So I've done both the button bands and the collar, and I'm really excited. It looks so much better with them. Of course, it doesn't look perfect yet because I haven't gotten the buttons in, but I think it made it look so much better. And then also 15 minutes ago, literally, I picked up stitches for the sleeve just to have that out of the way. I really don't like picking up stitches, so I try to do it as fast as possible, so when I go back to my project I won't have to think about it. I'm just going to show it on. I have been able to try it on the most like right fitting now after I've done all of the ribbing and it's off the needles, and I have to say, of course I can't say 100% yet because it's not blocked, but it seems to me that even though I sized up for this one, this is still not going to be super oversized. I can see that it does have a bit of drop shoulder, but not super much. And then also when I try to close this, as you can see, it's not looking super oversized, especially over my hips, but I am going to give this the benefit of the doubt because it is structure, so it could relax a lot, but I also don't think I'm going to get that super oversized look that Petiteknit has in her version, because I just don't see how this could stretch that much. I have heard I am doing this as part of a knit-along. If you want to join the Dagmar knit-along, let me know. All versions of the Dagmar is allowed. If you want to do the sweater, the jacket, if you want to wait and do the zipper sweater I see she's making, that I also think looks super nice. If you want to do that, let me know and I'll add you to the group. But someone in the group is done and they have said that the sleeve is really big and quite heavy and weighs down a bit, and that might be a bad thing, but for me I am also really excited about that, because usually for knits that are oversized, even if I get the body to be oversized, the sleeves just never are for me. I do have quite big arms. They're not 100% proportional to like this part of the body, so when it's oversized here, it's really not here. And that was one of the reasons I sized up for the Dagmar, because I really wanted it to be oversized in the sleeves. And people saying that their jackets or sweaters are too oversized in the sleeves kind of gave me hope that I'm going to get oversized sleeves. Of course, it's not great for the people who think it's too oversized, but I never get them oversized when they're supposed to, so I hope them being super oversized on others mean they will be oversized on me. Here you can see after I picked up, I do have a bit of room here after the pickup, so I hope that means it's going to be oversized. And even though the body doesn't look super oversized right now, it might grow, but no matter what, I really like it. If it doesn't grow, I'm probably not going to button up that last button because I don't really like it when it stretches over my hips. But also wearing it like this, I could really get behind. I really like it. I am really happy with the color I chose as well. I think it suits the Dagmar really well. Of course, I haven't seen a Dagmar in a color that I haven't thought was great, but I think this for dark, cold months and to wrap myself up in, I think it will be amazing. And I'm also really happy about my yarn choice, because this being in Drops Nepal, which is a really soft yarn, I'm not a really itchy person. I can wear any yarn, but I do have some favorites and Alaska is among them. And this I could wear very comfortably next to skin and just really snuggle up in, which I'm also really excited about. And I am so close to being done. And I am 98% sure I won't have to do yarn chicken because I have 6 skeins left, which should be more than enough. I don't think I should need more than 2, maybe 2.5 skeins for the sleeves on each side. And after I've done the sleeves, I'm done. I do have one problem though, and that is that I am 1 button short. But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do buttons from the top until the last one, and then I'll see how much it grows, because if it doesn't grow a lot, I'm not going to need that last button anyways. And if it does grow so much that I want all the buttons, then I'm going to get that, but I am good to wait. But that is my Dagmar. That is so close to being done. I think if I get enough knitting time, I might be able even to get this done in the next week, which means that next podcast I could be wearing this, which would be absolutely amazing. But here is my Dagmar, and I can try to give a closer look at all of the ribbed edges. I really like how this looks with the color where you pick up on this button band as well. And of course all of the Italian bind off, I really like that. But yeah, that is my Dagmar. I am super excited about my structured knits. It's been great to knit so many structured knits lately, and now that I am nearing the end of 2 of them, I think I'll have to find something else structured to cast on, because I don't know if I can go without. It's just so fun to do structured, but I might want to take a break from cables and do more like lace work maybe, but I'm definitely not done with structure for the season. With the wedding dress and the sweater number 20 and the Dagmar jacket, those are all of the projects for myself. Those are 3 pretty big projects for myself, so I think I'll have to take a break in knitting for myself after this. But the next oldest project is this, which is a sweater for my son. This is the Celeste sweater junior, which I'm also having a knit along for. Let me know if you want to knit any Celeste things, and I'll add you to that group. I have been working on this a bit here and there for a couple of weeks now. I think maybe 3-4 weeks, and it's been a really enjoyable knit. I had nothing bad to say about it. It was just my mindless knit for so long, but then last week I realized that I had 1 skein less than I had thought of the main color. I thought I had 1 more skein, turns out I don't. I haven't been able to scour through my stash 100%, so I still have a little bit of hope that there is a skein hiding there, but I'm pretty sure there isn't. So this is all I have left of the last skein. So when doing the sleeves, I have had to stress a bit more. I first did 1 sleeve where I did all of the, decreases. And when I was done doing the decreases, I started working from the other end of the skein without breaking the yarn to try to do all the decreases here. And there isn't enough yarn to do all of the decreases on both sides. So I'm really unsure about what to do. Part of me wants to just buy a new skein and do the rest of the sleeves in a new skein, and since it's almost only the ribbing, I'll just be fine with however much difference in dye lot it is. But this was also supposed to be my big stash busting project, so buying a new skein for it, I kind of don't want to do that as well, because then I would end up with scraps again after this project, but that would be a really easy solution. And then my other solution, which I don't really know how I'll do, is to unpick the Italian bind off here, which I am not looking forward to. That would suck, and doing Italian bind off is not great, but unpicking all of the Italian bind off and then ripping back 1 or 2 or 3 rows and then end this ribbing with another color, one of these colors, don't know which. I'm leaning towards red, and then use the yarn here to finish this sleeve so they're at least the same length in white, and then do the full ribbing of the sleeves in red. I'm leaning towards that, but that would be a lot more work than to just get another skein. I think I'll have to really look through my stash to see if I can find any, and I'll have to text my family too to see if they have any of the same color, because I would prefer to not have to unpick Italian bind off, because that's just a lot of work, and I can't cut into it either because I need all of the yarn. But yeah, that's kind of my issue right now with this. So I have worked a bit on it this week. I have done both of the sleeves, but now with only this yarn reminding, I am on a bit of a Celeste break. Also, all of these ends, I should probably take this time to weave them in, but right now all I want to do is to kind of hide this away. I have to be careful not to do that because this could easily end up as a UFO, but yeah, I'm just struggling a bit with my motivation on this one, since it's just, I really hoped it would just be smooth sailing, and it isn't. But I think the best solution probably is to unpick the Italian bind off. I just really don't want to do it, so I'm going to give it a break for a couple of days, see if I can find another solution, see if I maybe can find more yarn even. Just a tiny bit even would help, because then I'd finish this this side and make them the same length, and then I'll probably still do the ribbing on this in red or some other color. I'm also unsure if I want to do the whole ribbing in just red, or if I want to do stripes in these colors. Can't really decide what would look best, and since I'm so undecided, this is on a bit of a break, and then whenever I get more motivation or figure out something which I deem a good solution, if I get any good tips from you guys, greatly appreciated. But until then, I'm just going to think about it, because I really don't know what would be the best solution. And if I'm going to do like the whole ribbing in red, should I do that on the body too, or should I just do the bottom rows? I can't really figure that out, but yeah, I'll just have to see what makes the most sense to me. But it is really tempting to just get another skein of the chalk color and just be done with it, because that would make things a lot easier. But that is the Celeste sweater. This is in size 4 to 5 years, and I do really like how it looks, and I think it would be a great sweater, also a great sweater for Christmas because of the red. So I really hope that this won't turn into a UFO, and I hope that because I like it so much I won't let it. But that's it for that. And then my next oldest project is in hibernation. That is the felted seating mat I'm making. This might come out of hibernation in the next week if I'm able to finish the Dagmar, because then I'll add the scrap yarn to this. But as of right now, this is just in hibernation. I have nothing to say. I'm not going to unravel it. But yeah, that's it for that one. And then my very last project has hidden somewhere. Here it is. And that I've also not made any progress on since last week, and that is the Uværslua that I'm making for one of my twin cousins. Their birthday is tomorrow, and I was supposed to go to their birthday party, but it was sadly cancelled because of sickness. So I'm not going there, which also means that I have a bit more time. Last week I talked a bit about how I was unsure about making the Uværslua in merino extra fine, and if that would be warm enough, thick enough, good enough. But I did hear that some of you had made it in merino extra fine and that you were happy with how that had turned out. So I'm going to keep going. I just haven't had my 4mm needle in this. I don't know what I use my 4mm needle for. I think what stole it? I can't remember. But my 4mm needle is free again, so I can start working on this again. And I am what 1/5 of the way done with the hat, so I think it should go quite quickly once I start back up again. But this is just the first of 2. But this is Uværslua. Can't quite remember which size I'm making, but I'm making it in merino extra fine, and this is the medium grey color, same as my Dagmar, and then I'm going to make the other one in light grey. And that is all of my whips for this week. I do actually have one less whip this week than last week, and hopefully if I continue like this, I'm going to be degreasing my whips even more by next week. I'm crossing my fingers for that, because if I get down to like 3 or 4 whips, then I feel like I'm allowed to cast something new on again. This week was also really good for stash busting. I looked at my stash again. I've added all of the yarn I've used for the mohair skirt into that, and also for the Melange sweater, and I am well below 100,000 meters of yarn now. I think I'm at 95, and I'm also really close to finally being under 30 kilos, so that should at least be doable before Christmas. And then my other goal before Christmas is to get my bucket of shame empty, and I've not been great at doing bucket of shame updates the last few weeks, because I've been busy and not motivated and everything. I haven't been the worst at weaving in ends. I have woven in the ends on these felted sitting mats, and I have woven in all of the ends on these ones that I made. So I have been weaving in ends a bit here and there, but not really updating the bucket of shame, and this is how it looks right now. It does look quite full, so I thought I would do a little bit on this at least. Maybe focusing, I want to focus on the wedding dress stuff, but then I also think I should focus on my son's sweaters and wearable stuff, because I don't want them to grow out of it before I weave in ends. I'll see if there is something else down here. Also, I should probably weave in ends on my sofa shawl so I could use it this winter. Not that I didn't use it last winter without the ends being woven in. I do have a lot. This also has only 2 ends to weave in, so I should probably do that as well. But yeah, I'm going to get my needle, and then we'll just start and see how many ends we actually weave in, and how much time I want to spend on this, and how much patience everyone else has for me weaving in ends. But yeah, I'm going to go get my needle. Okay, I've tried to decide on projects now, and I've decided on this first of all because I need to get this done so we'll actually be able to use it, and then this because it's going to go really quickly, and then this as well because it's really easy to weave in ends on them, and this one definitely is really big, so it takes up a lot of space. If I'm able to weave in ends on these projects, I'll be really happy. If I'm only able to do this, I'll still be happy. I also did weave in ends on this week, so my goal each week is to weave in ends on at least as many projects as I finish, and I've had some weeks where I've been bad at it, but I feel like I've been quite good at it the last few weeks. That might just be because I haven't finished that many projects the last few weeks. This project does have a few more ends than my usual projects because I do knit a lot with pure wool lately, and then I can split splice the ends, which makes the biggest difference when it comes to having to weave in ends. Even for this big Melange sweater I'm wearing now, I probably had to weave in fewer ends than I'll have to do for this one. I'm not saying that I never want to use superwash, but it's definitely not my favorite when it comes to the weaving in ends aspect, but it does have some other pros. It's easier to wash and you don't have to stress about just chucking it in the washing machine, and it's really easy to use for messy kids, but definitely more ends to weave in, which are not my favorite. But after this, the other projects don't have that many ends to weave in, and I am feeling like I'm really starting to make a good amount of progress when it comes to my basket of shame. What kind of kills my motivation sometimes though is that I know that it's a never-ending problem, or hopefully it won't be a problem after this, but I'm never going to have to stop weaving in ends. As long as I knit, I'll still have to weave in ends all the time. But since I started this project quite a few weeks ago now, I have gotten better. I'm still not loving going back and weaving in ends on all projects, and I'm still really bad at doing buttons. But what I have to say though is that I've gotten a lot better at weaving in ends immediately when finishing a project that I wasn't good at all before. But now that when I finished this, weaved in ends immediately. When I've finished other projects, weaved in ends immediately. I see in my bucket of shame that most of my projects in there are from last year, and I have put some projects in there this year as well, but I've gotten through all of them, and I've not really been adding that many projects to it this year. Of course, my mist sleeves are in there right now, and I also haven't woven in the end on the mohair skirt I just finished today, but those are also a bit different, and yeah, they won't take that much time, but I'm trying to prioritize the more like wearable right now projects, that if I finish them now I can use them tomorrow. I can't do that with the mist sleeves or the mohair skirt, so when I have to prioritize, they're just not going to make the priority list. But yeah, this is going surprisingly faster than I thought it would. But there is still quite a few ends to weave in. I don't think I said what this is. This is the chunky rib sweater by Jord Clothing. I can't really remember when I made it now, but I think maybe in September I made this. I have also matching pants. They're not matching in yarn or in color, but both are chunky rib pants or chunky rib sweater, so I think they'll go well together, and we've used the chunky rib pants a lot this season, so getting the chunky rib sweater now will be great, and I am pretty sure we'll be able to use it loads even with all of the other sweaters we have. Let's see, I have only 2 more to weave in, and then we'll see how many more we do. I think we'll do the blue scarf as well, at least, because that only has 2 ends, and it will just bug me to not do it, because it won't take me long at all, and it will really make a difference. But I'm not 100% sure about the huge sofa shawl, because that is huge. It's much bigger than any of the regular sofa shawls. But both of the other projects are from last year. I think the blue Sophie scarf that I'm going to weave in ends on is the last project I finished in 2023. And then the beige Sophie shawl is another project that I finished. I can't remember if I finished it early December or if I finished it late December, but it was definitely December 2023. So that's just a crazy long time, since it's been almost a year just rotting away in my bucket of shame, and that's why it's called bucket of shame, because things just go there to die, because it's been so shameful to look back at it and realize, like, oh, I've had very variable things in here for a year for no good reason, but I am doing something about that finally. I'm really excited about this. I remember making this, I was so excited about it because I love this color. I'm not the best at wearing things like the Sophie shawl, or the Sophie shawl I'm quite good at wearing, but the Sophie scarf I can't really figure out how to wear that. I don't know how to style it. It's not a natural part of my wardrobe with a tiny scarf. I think they're really cute, and they're great for stash busting, and I've made 2 that I've kept of the Sophie scarf, which I've loved to wear in my hair mostly, but now my son has stolen both of them because he loves them as scarves, and they're perfect scarves for younger kids, because they're not so huge and bulky like the Sophie shawl, for example. So it's like the Sophie shawl but toddler sized. So I've really enjoyed the Sophie scarf for that. But this Sophie scarf is in pure silk, so it's not really a super warm Sophie scarf for my son to borrow. And I also really want to keep this myself, but I just don't know how to wear this, so I'd love suggestions for that. How do you style them? How do you wear them? How do you tie them? I see people tie them and it looks so pretty, but I just, when I try, it doesn't look like that. But now I'm almost done with this as well, but I think we'll end it here because I can hear downstairs that people are getting impatient, and so am I, to be honest. I want to go and play and knit and at least not weave in ends anymore, but I'm happy with my progress. I finished 1 knit this week that I wove in ends for, and I also eliminated 2 more, so that's not bad. See, this is how I see people wearing them, and does that look good? I just can't tell. But yeah, I did finish 2, really happy about that. Now I'm going to go. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and a comment. That means the absolute world to me. And if you want to see more from me, please subscribe. Bye!